Okay, let's have a chat about this one. Before we begin, let's just walk through the process real quick in English, see if we can understand what this problem's asking us to do. It wants us to write a function that's going to take in a string of characters, and if all the characters are in sorted order, it's going to return true, and if they're not, it's going to return false. And you can see that the capital lowercase thing kind of comes into play here a little bit, right? Which is fine. We'll talk about that when we need to. So they set us up here with the function, and it says return true if sorted from least to greatest and false otherwise. And I think this is a little evil, I want to say. Not like super evil to put this return false here, but it's a little evil. Let me ask you a question. Is it easier to prove that the string is in sorted order, or easier to prove that it's not in sorted order? Which one's easier to prove? Yeah.
I proved that it was not, because as soon as it's not out.
Yeah, it's easier to prove that it's not in sorted order. It takes less work, I guess is probably the better way to say it. It takes less work. As soon as I know that it's not in sorted order, I don't have to worry about the rest of it. I'm just done. I can just get the heck out of there, right? There's nothing that could come later on in the string that's going to magically make it sorted. If I find something that's not sorted, then the whole thing is not sorted. To prove that it is sorted, I have to check the whole thing, all of it, to make it work, right? So we have two outcomes here. If it's not sorted, I can stop short. I don't have to check the whole string. If it is sorted, I have to check the whole string, right? That's sort of the trick of this particular exercise. That's one of the tricks of this particular exercise anyway. And so with that in mind, right, now that we've talked about that, I think we should set it up to check the easier of the two things, the one that's going to take less work. Let's try to prove that it's not sorted. Let's write code that will prove that. So I'm going to take this out. How am I going to do that? What structures, what coding structures am I going to need to pull this off? I'm sorry? A loop. Let's do it. Are we going to loop by index or by element? Do we care? Should it? So somebody's saying it should work either way. Do we agree with that statement? Do we agree that it could work either way? I think one way. I think this is an example where one way is probably very much superior to the other way. Do we want to do it by index or by elements? Yeah, Alex. Yeah. The index is the right way to go about this, I think. I think it's a much easier way of solving this problem. Could you do it by element? I'm actually not convinced of that, although I'm willing to think about it, maybe even try it and see how far we get. But let's do it by index first, because I feel like that's a more natural fit to this problem. And then we can talk about the other way if we have time. So we'll just set up a regular loop for I in range. And we know how to iterate through strings, right? We take the length of the string that we care about. And then how are we going to pull this off? How are we going to check to make sure that it's sorted? What am I actually checking? What am I checking? I'm sorry? What about the string am I looking at to check? I guess what I'm trying to say and doing a bad job of saying it is, what should I start typing next? We need an if statement. String at I, so I'm going to look at the letter, all right? What am I going to compare it to? The next one. I'm going to compare it to the next letter, right? So string of I, how do I get the next letter? +1, okay? And then something needs to go in between, right? Remember, we're trying to prove that it's not sorted. We're trying to prove the case that it's not sorted. So With that in mind, what would go in between here? Greater than, okay. Right, so if this is true, I know that it's not sorted. I'm done. How do I tell the function I'm done? Return. And I know what the answer is, false. Okay. At what point do I know that it is properly sorted? At what point? I still need to worry about that case, right? At what point in my code can I say with 100% certainty that this string is sorted? Once I've gone through all of it. So after the loop, if I make it out of the loop and I haven't found anything that tells me that it isn't sorted, then it must be sorted, right? It must be sorted. So once I get out of this loop, it's safe for me to return true. All right, let's not take my word for it. Let's take some of these tests and copy them down here. And I guess I should put some print statements around these so that we can see the results. Okay. And we'll run it. And whoops, bad input on line 6. What did I do? Oh, I accidentally a word. All right. String index out of range on line 7. So this is line 7. What happened? Yeah. What part of the code is causing the problem? The +1 here is causing the problem. The +1 is causing the problem. Because I is going to be every single value, right? But when I get to that last value, I try to add 1 to it, and I've gone off the end of the string. I've gone over the edge. So I need to be aware of that fact and make up for it by stopping this short, taking 1 off of the length. In other words, we're comparing characters in groups of 2, right? So I don't have to check every position. Since I'm checking in groups of 2, if I get to the second to last position, that's good enough. I can stop there. Make sense? And so I hit run, and that seems to be doing okay. That seems to be doing all right. I do have a couple more things I want to chat with you about, but before I get there, are there any questions about this basic approach to the... Shouldn't it be false? Oh, did I screw something up? Oh, okay. This should be false. Sorry. No, it's saying this equals true. This equals false. So if you want to take these off, then you'll get the actual thing. You guys scared me for a second. It's like, did Python just like change the way stuff worked in the middle of class today? Like what? Okay, is that a little better? Sorry. Any other questions? So I got a couple more questions for you, right? This is sorted method still, like this capitalization thing, we talked about it before, that's still a little weird. But we can fix that though, right? How would we fix that? I'm sorry? Make them all uppercase or lowercase. So where in my code, which line am I looking at? Which line am I looking at? I think there's a couple ways we could do it, but which line in particular do you think? Any ideas? Line 7? I like line 7. Just put a dot upper off of both of these. Or dot lower. Doesn't matter, right? Doesn't matter. Just convert them all to be the same. Convert them all to be either uppercase or lowercase. And now, if I run this, right? Oh, there we go. Now this one's true because it's not taking the uppercase and lowercase into account. It's just taking the pure position of the alphabet, which is not what the problem asks for, to be clear, right? This is an addition. The last thing I wanted to talk to you about, or it might be, I might think of some more stuff, who knows, is that first question. So we're iterating by index very clearly. And the question I have for you is, could we iterate by element or iterate by value instead? So could I get the range out of here, right? My bad. Hang on. Mac has a power button like right on the keyboard next to the delete key. It's a good place for it. My Windows machine does not have that. Just saying, does not have that. So, I want to do something more like this, right? Can I write a loop that looks like this and still pull this problem off? That's my question. Yes, no, oh man. Yes. What needs to change? So I can't use brackets anymore, right? This doesn't work. No more brackets. And we can forget about the uppercase, lowercase stuff. We don't even need to worry about that for this one. I can't use brackets anymore, right? So how do I do this? How do I compare one character against its neighbor? Can I compare one character against its neighbor? Yeah.
You can initialize the variable like as the first character in the string, and then just go through, and you can set that to a variable called greatest character or something, and then you can just go through each character and compare it. And if that string is the root variable character is greater, you can reassign that variable.
Yeah, you're on the right track. You're on the right track. So the suggestion was to make a variable, I'll call it current character, right? And set that equal to, you said the first one in the string?
Yeah.
So like that?
0.
0, yep. You got me. Set that to 0. And now I'm not comparing, like this doesn't make any sense, right? This makes no sense whatsoever. What does this comparison become? If I is less than, greater than current character, we're not done. We still need to do a little bit more work to make this work, right? What are we missing? I have to reassign current character. So after I've made this check, the next time through the loop, right? I want to make sure that current character is pointing at the next. So what do I reassign it to? Down here I can say, if I can get this right, current character is now going to be what? I mean, what are my options, right? What options do I have? There's really only one good one, which is I. So as I moves down the string, current character is going to move down the string. Think about what we're doing. We're saying, check the current character against the one that I'm at now. If it doesn't work, then I'm done. Get the heck out of here. If it does work, then current character is now this one, so that next time around I'll check its neighbor. And I'll just repeat that process. It kind of reminds me of the Fibonacci problem a little bit. Reminds me of Fibonacci a little bit. There is one more issue though. Like this isn't quite gonna work, I don't think. All false. One little issue. Think about it. So we pulled this to be the first one, right? And then when I loop, I is also going to be the first character at first. Yeah, I think you said it.
I also think we have
Equals. It's greater than or equal. Or, well, no, that's not right.
line 9 should be true. It's like if I is greater than the current character, then it's going in increasing order.
Okay, so your suggestion was to make this true. Now I want to be careful. If I find something that matches and I return true, I have not checked the whole string yet here, right? There's still more string to be checked, so I don't like that. Again, we're trying to prove that it's not sorted. So if it's not sorted, I wouldn't say Actually, I greater than the current character means that it would be sorted, right? If I is less than the current character is what would cause the problem. I think I just needed to flip the sign. Let's try it. True, false, false. Hey. I think it works. If I is less than the current character, return false. If they're the same, then it actually counts that as being okay, right? It's not going to return false, it's just going to keep going. So that works. And I think it works. So the answer is yeah, we can get there. It's a little bit of a longer solution. There's 2 extra lines of code because I have to create that extra variable to manage where I'm at, which is not unusual for switching back and forth between those 2 approaches. But I'm not surprised that it was possible. It's almost always going to be possible in both forms. So it comes down to, which one are you comfortable with? Which one makes the most sense to you? I feel like a lot of people did not do it this way. I feel like most people probably did it the first way we did it, which is fine. That's totally fine. That's how I would have done it. But this is also totally fine. I approve. Any questions? All right. Thank you so much for your help, everybody. Enjoy your week, and I'll see you back here on Thursday.